computer. Okay, welcome. My name is Mary Bear Shannon. I'm a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library, and this is a new program called Lunch Break with a Librarian. I am here today with our reference manager, Amy Moskowitz. And as we said, this is a brand new program. This is going to be every Friday at 12:30. And this is a way just to learn more about your library staff. We all come from very different and interesting backgrounds, and we wanted to make sure you knew the people that were serving you in your community. The other thing I just wanted to mention to everybody is that curbside pickup is coming. June 15th will be our first day for allowing people to order books either online or via telephone. You can fill out a form that's going to be on our website, or you can also call us and order your books. We will get them prepared for you, and then you'll be able to come and pick it up. More information is coming soon, but we wanted to give you a heads up. And also, June 15th is when you can return your books. I know lots of people are itching to get their books back. So just before we began, I wanted to make sure people knew about that. So anyway, Amy, let's get started. Why don't you start with telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, like you said, I am the reference manager at the Haverford Township Free Library. I've been there since about March of 2019, and I love the community. I love the neighborhood. I'm really proud to be there and to serve the community. I come from New Jersey. I come from Atlantic County, which many of you may be familiar with, going down the shore in the spring and summer months. I'm from a little town called Ventnor, New Jersey, which has a beach there, and I grew up going to the beach very frequently. But I also, when I grew up, frequented the library there. I love libraries, and I loved going to libraries. I was an avid reader, and of course still am. I remember going to the library on a weekly basis, at least, if not more often. And I can still remember my local library and what it felt like to go there and get my books, and what the children's section was like. And so I just remember, my weeks at the shore and what my time was like at the libraries and growing up with my local library.
So what did you do before you became a librarian?
I had a long and winding career path to get to librarianship. I started out, I got my undergraduate degree at Rowan University in New Jersey, in Glassboro. Some of you may be familiar with that, over the bridge in New Jersey. And I actually got my degree in communications, and I started out in the field of public relations, starting out in the casinos in Atlantic City, right near my old hometown of Ventnor. And I got a job as a publicist in the casino resorts down there, and I worked for Caesars Entertainment, working for Caesars, Bally's, Hilton, when Hilton was around. Some of you may remember those casinos. And I did publicity for the arts and entertainment and boxing for about a year, until there was the Harrah's merger. And then once there was that takeover and my department was pretty much done for, I decided to change careers. I come from a family of teachers. My mom was always a teacher, and I always revered learning and education. And so I decided to go into the field of education, and I became a school teacher. I have a very strong music background. Some of you may know from our quarantine coffee house program that took place last month, that I have a background in music. So I was a music teacher for a while. I was also a basic skills teacher, but I had a job in the public school system for over a decade, and taught in different classrooms and different things in the public schools before I became a librarian. So,
so what pushed you to become a librarian, and what is it that you love about librarianship?
Wow. there were a lot of things that really brought me into the field of librarianship. First of all, I volunteered as a board member in the library board for the local library, the Otto Bruins Public Library in Northfield, New Jersey, if anybody's familiar with that. It's a little bit inland from the shore. But I was a board member for a few years, the Otto Bruins Public Library. And I really loved looking at libraries from the other side and working as a board member for a while. That was really gratifying, and that was I found that to be really an interesting experience, being a board member for a while, and not only being a patron of the library, but working on the board side and volunteering and serving my community that way. I also had the opportunity to volunteer with Librarians Without Borders a few years back in a service trip to Guatemala, and that was amazing. We worked at a school, so I got to kind of utilize my skills as a school teacher and as a librarian, or as a budding librarian, I guess I should say, for a school in Guatemala. And that was a fascinating experience to work with international librarianship as I was just kind of starting out. But as I was looking into extending my education, expanding my education, and getting my master's degree, I was looking into what field might be the best fit for me. And as much as I love education, I really, really love librarianship. And I really love public librarianship. I had a job at the time while I was a public school teacher as a part-time library assistant in Northfield. And I really kind of took that to really guide me into the field of librarianship and guide me into getting my master's in librarianship.
And so what do you love best about being a librarian or librarianship?
Gosh, it's so hard to narrow it down. I think that what really got me into the field of public librarianship versus maybe becoming a media specialist in a school district, which would have been kind of the common sense area for me to go, kind of working from the public schools for so long, is working with the public. I really love helping out the public, answering their questions, especially being a reference librarian. I feel like every question that we get is kind of a tiny puzzle piece or a tiny mystery to answer. And when we answer those mysteries, it's so gratifying, and it's so great to see the smile on people's faces and get those thank yous. It's so wonderful every time we help somebody out. So I really love that aspect of librarianship. I also really love reader's advisory. I really love, reading. I'm still an avid reader. I'm still that little girl that loves going into the library every day and seeing what's new on the shelves and taking something off and going home and reading, and then helping somebody else maybe find their favorite book. I love programming. Programming is a big part of what we do. And so offering new programs to people. Recently, with COVID-19, we've been responsible for producing our own content. And that has been a really interesting experience to produce our own content for the public as well. But finding qualified people and offering programs to people is really interesting to me as well. So there's so many aspects of librarianship that I find really fascinating and that I love to do.
Okay. So what are your favorite books?
I would say that some of my all-time favorite books are The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. I read that in college. Actually, freshman year, I took a mythology course, and we were tasked with reading The Mists of Avalon. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is a doorstop. I don't know if I could read this. If anybody's seen it, it's huge. And to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old college student, it's daunting. But when I started reading it, I was just drawn into the world of King Arthur and the knights and the world of magic. And here's my cat.
Well, we want to know all aspects about you, Amy, including your cat.
Yeah, she wanted her say. She wants to talk about her favorite book too. But I love The Mists of Avalon, and to this day, it's one of my favorite books. When it comes to nonfiction, I love Sarah Vowell. She's an essayist, and you may be familiar with her if you know NPR and This American Life. So Sarah Vowell's books, especially Assassination Vacation, where she talks about presidential assassinations, is a really fascinating book. And it's a really accessible way and almost a fun and witty way to find out about history.
Interesting. Well, what are your favorite genres of books?
I read everything, but I would say that I'm really a nonfiction reader. I started the nonfiction book group at the library when we didn't have one, because nonfiction is really my heart. I love learning. I love learning new things. And I love just expanding my knowledge about the world. So I would say I'm really a nonfiction reader at heart.
Nonfiction book group is always the fourth Wednesday of the month at 7:00. So what were some of your favorite books growing up?
I was a Babysitter's Club reader. I read all the Babysitter's Club books as a preteen and as a teenager. But even younger than that, I was a big fan of the Little Golden Books. I had a huge collection of the Little Golden Books on my shelf, and I loved all of those. Some of you may remember the Little Golden Books. Those are classics. But I was definitely, growing up, I just couldn't wait for the next Babysitter's Club book to come out. And anything in a series. I love, Boxcar Children, Babysitter's Club books, anything in a series. I would love, anticipating the next book to come out.
Okay. So aside from reading, what are some of your other hobbies?
I do yoga. I really enjoy yoga to relax my mind after a long day of work. I enjoy traveling, not right now so much, but when I can, I enjoy exploring new places and seeing, what other people like to do and eat, and, just the culture of some other places is really interesting to me. So I love travel.
And you're a singer too, right?
And I sing. I love music. So going to any kind of live music, any kind of concert, theater, definitely.
So you said you like to travel. Are there particular places that you like to travel to and visit?
Some of my favorite cities are New Orleans in Louisiana. I love the culture in New Orleans, the music of New Orleans, the food in New Orleans. That's one of my favorite cities to go to when I get the opportunity. Definitely in the world, I love Paris, London and Paris, and those Western capitals are really beautiful, of course. But in the United States, I think that New Orleans, Louisiana has my heart.
Okay. So if you could live in any book universe, what would it be and why?
I am a big Harry Potter fan. So I would like to go to Hogwarts and be trained in the dark arts and learn all about the Harry Potter universe.
So what house are you?
I'm definitely a Hufflepuff.
You're
Yeah.
Hufflepuff. Okay.
I
All right.
would be sorted into Hufflepuff.
That's great. Okay. Do you have a favorite virtual program that you have done in the past 10 weeks? We've done a lot in the last 10 weeks, but do you have a favorite?
We have, haven't we? We've been busy.
We've been busy.
I like our Mindfulness Monday program that I run on Monday afternoons at 1. I think that it gives people an opportunity to kind of step back from their daily lives. It offers some breathing techniques to calm down, and it's just some tips and tricks that I use in my own mindfulness practice to kind of call yourself back to the present moment, step out of your to-do list for a little while, even if it's just the 10 minutes of Mindfulness Monday, and just bring yourself into the present. So I think that that's very much needed for some self-care, especially in these stressful times.
Absolutely. So Mondays at 1 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So I guess this question's kind of already been answered, but do you have any pets?
Well, you saw one of them. I have 2 cats, Lilith and Kaya. I have a black cat and a calico cat, and one of them walked in front of the screen. She's a much more friendly and personable one, my black cat Lilith. And then I have a little bit of a shyer one, Kaya. She's 5, and she's the calico. She's probably sleeping somewhere in the house right now. And Lilith is much more adventurous and friendly, and wanted her moment on the screen today. So
she's got the publicity hog.
A little bit. Yeah. She got her 15 seconds of fame.
Of fame, that's right. Although I think she was in the last Mindfulness Monday. I think they were both in the last Mindfulness Monday.
They were. Yeah.
So what are you reading now?
What am I
reading? Excuse me. What are you reading now?
What am I reading right now? I'm reading a few things at the moment. I just started Ibram Kendi's How to Be Anti-Racist. I think that that's really timely for the moment. So I just started that one as a nonfiction book. I am also reading, I needed to stop and give it back because it had so many holes on it, but I am reading The Authenticity Project, which I would highly recommend. But that had a bunch of holes on it, so I think I needed to give that back, and I was about 3/4 of the way through, but I love it. And I would highly recommend it, but I think I need to wait another 13 weeks for it on Libby. But that's a great novel. If anybody's really interested in a nice, fun, light read, The Authenticity Project is fabulous. So I would highly recommend that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a librarian?
I would say start out at your local library, spend some time at your local library. I started out, like I said, as a library assistant, working for about $9 an hour and doing everything that I possibly could. I was fortunate enough to work at a fantastic small library in New Jersey with a fantastic the library director there really took me under her wing and showed me everything that she could about the library. I told her that I was passionate about library service, and she could see that in me, and so she said that she was just going to show me all aspects that she could about the library. She showed me cataloging, she showed me shelving, she showed me processing, all of the ins and outs of library service that she could. So I would say, find a job at your library, whether it's being a library assistant, being a page, anything that you can do at your local library, whether it's volunteering, anything that you can do to really get your foot in the door and learn about the aspect of your library, volunteer for programs, read at a story time. Learn about what happens at your library on the day-to-day basis. um, and really get to know, you know, if this is the right profession for you. And if you love it as much as I did, then maybe you can get your master's in it like I did and keep growing with it.
Okay. And what do you like, since you're kind of new to have the Haverford Township community, what do you like about serving the patrons in this community?
I find that this is such a welcoming and friendly community. They really welcomed me with open arms. People didn't recognize me clearly because I had come from a different place. I had actually, originally, when I moved to Pennsylvania, I started in Lansdowne. So I wasn't brand new to the Delaware County area, but I was still new to Havertown. So people didn't recognize me as their neighbor, but they still treat me like a neighbor. So I find it as a very friendly and welcoming community. Everybody still smiles and says hello. And I really just appreciate how genuine and how friendly everybody is. Everybody really appreciates their library, and loves their library. They really seem to appreciate everything that we do for the community. And I love that about Havertown.
Well, anyway, we're glad you're here too. So those are my questions. I think we covered pretty much everything. So again, we are going to be doing lunchtime with a librarian on Fridays at 12:30 each Friday. So be on the lookout. We're going to be finding out all the deep, dark secrets of all of our reference librarians to start, and then we'll probably be interviewing some of our other colleagues here at the library. So be on the lookout for this program. And also check out our YouTube channel for all of our virtual programs. We've been really busy, and you may have missed some of our programs that were on Facebook, but you can always go back to our YouTube channel. You just go to YouTube and then type in Haverford Township Free Library, and you can find all of our videos from really the last 10 weeks. So check us out, and we're glad that you could join us today, and we hope you have a great day.